Feels like every time I log onto the internet these days, there's always some new automotive company that is trying to enter the market and disrupt the entire automotive landscape. And it forces the dinosaurs like Land Rover to have to pull up their socks and reinvent themselves just to stay relevant in today's times. Now, granted, Land Rover has had many opportunities to reinvent itself when it went from the ownership of Rover to BMW to Ford, and now it's with Tata. So each of those handovers gave the brand an opportunity to kind of be like, all right, what can we do to stay relevant? Back in the day, Range Rovers were all about that sheer brutal off-road capabilities that were able to handle any terrain with ease. They're a high torque, high revving, gas guzzling beasts. Nobody could hold a candle to them. But the problem with Range Rovers back in the day is that you couldn't drive them daily. I mean, sure, people did, but they were really uncomfortable. I remember I had some friends that had Range Rovers growing up, and I always felt like a pair of socks being tumbled around in the back of it. Extremely bouncy, always felt nauseous, and it wasn't a pleasant driving experience. Until now. Land Rover have really pulled up their socks and are focusing on a more premium luxury upscale car market, while not losing sight of the fact that their cars need to be able to handle off-road terrain extremely well. But now they want people to drive their cars daily, and they want them to drive their cars daily in comfort and luxury and with all of this technology, and they've really focused on the everyday driving experience of driving a Land Rover. The car that I'm in is a 2021 Range Rover Velar R-Dynamic HSE, which is their top of the, excuse the pun, range. Top of the range model that has all the bells and whistles and tech, and it's got the sporty looks with R-Dynamic trim around and carbon fiber goodies that make this car look sportier than the standard Velar. Propelling this car forward is a 3-liter engine that is turbocharged, but wait, there's more. It's also supercharged, and it has something they call MHEV, which is a mild hybrid electric vehicle. So if you had the same reaction that I had when I read the spec sheet, I was like, hold on, what does all of this mean? It's electric and it's supercharged and turbocharged. Does it make sense? The MHEV is just a technology that allows the car to focus on its fuel efficiency through auto start-stop, regenerative power, and also the electronic assistance is for the supercharged. So essentially this is a turbocharged engine, but with electric supercharger pushing it forward. But those numbers together mean that this car only puts out 340 horsepower, given all of those power adders and the technology that make you think you're going to get 4-digit horsepower. It's only 340 horsepower, 480 Newton meters of torque, allow this car to reach 100 kilometers an hour from a standstill in 6.3 seconds, even though I'm averaging around 11 liters per 100 kilometers. So with only 340 horsepower and a weight of 2.7 tons, surely this car has to feel like a slouch, right? It has to. It doesn't. It feels much lighter than it is, and it feels much faster than it is. I don't know how they've managed it, but it doesn't feel like a slouch. It handles quite well, and that comes down to the driving technology that this car has. I actually have to park on the side because I'm not even going to kid you, I can't even memorize half of this list, but I'm going to read them out to you. Heads-up display, blind spot assist, park assist, driver condition monitor. Something is monitoring me right now to see if I'm feeling tired, and it will suggest to take a break. Emergency brake assist, trailer stability assist. If you're hauling a trailer behind the car and it starts to lose traction on the highway, the car knows how to correct that. Hill descent control, hill launch assist, speed proportional electronic power steering. So the faster you go, the more it firms up. The slower you go, the more it loosens around to aid parking. Low traction launch control, corner braking control, roll stability control. So if the car feels it's about to roll over on a curve, it knows how to correct that. individual wheel braking and such. Electronic traction control, dynamic stability control, anti-lock brakes, all of these things that were used already, but still, they play a part. Electronic brake force distribution. It's these technologies that allow the car not to exhibit its weight when you're driving it and you don't feel that you're hauling 2.7 tons around. It's brilliant, but there's even stuff that's behind the curtain. There's UV protection and sound insulation in this windshield to keep cabin noise low. Also, to keep cabin noise low, you have the deployable door handles that close when they're not needed and open when they're needed, just to keep the aerodynamic efficiency low and cabin noise low as well. It's genius. Let's hit the road again. So those are the technology points around the drivability of the car and the performance and all of that. But what about the interior? What tech do we have here? So I've got heads-up display in front of me, this beautiful instrument cluster that is quite customizable. I can have it with a single dial in the middle or 2 dials. I can have no dials and have the entire thing an actual map. I've also got 2 10-inch touchscreen PV Pro that look sick. They look so good. Like, I just want to stop, park, and look at them. So specs are done. Let's get, let's put all that behind us and let's talk about the real stuff. Like I said at the beginning, Range Rover are really focusing on the everyday drivability. So have they delivered? Have they met the brief? Absolutely smashed it. It is such a beautiful place to be. I don't know if it's because it's not my car and it's just been a few days driving that I find myself taking my eyes off the road to just admire everything's so nice and pretty. The materials, they've got like chrome touches, piano black finish, stitched leather on the dashboard. Sound insulation is amazing. You barely hear anything from the outside. The road noise is really low. The electronic air suspension really gives the car so much comfort, and it irons out all of the bumps that you feel like a steamroller. It's just wafting along, flattening out any bumps on the road. What helps as well is that you have the Windsor leather that are perforated seats. So those have heating and cooling functions. And the best part is they have an awesome massage function. So I'm going to hit massage, turn it on. I'm not going to lie to you, I demoed this the other day and it does rival Coco. Coco's my masseuse, by the way. There's also a choice of some really good sound in here. There's the Meridian 3D, which is what this car has. It's a 17 speaker setup with 750 watt output. But if you want to go even crazier, you can get the Meridian Signature, and that has 22 speakers and 1,300 watts of power. I would probably opt for that one. If you're an audiophile and you love your music, that's going to sound sick because this one sounds really good. It's quite a practical car as well. Obviously, you've got storage space in the glove compartment, armrest, door cards, the usual car stuff. But you've also got 513 liters in the trunk. And if you fold the seats down, you get around 1,250 liters, which is not too shabby at all. It really is adding to the practicality and the everyday usability of this car. But it's not all fun and games. There are a couple of nuances in this car that just annoyed me within the first hour of driving it. One of them is this armrest support over here. It's great when you're cruising around town. You get to rest your arms, take the weight off the shoulders, it's comfortable. But if you want to do some spirited driving, you find yourself constantly hitting this armrest, and it's really annoying because you're gonna have to put your elbows in and try to hope you can turn around corners that way. Another annoyance is these paddle shifters. I think they feel great materials wise, don't get me wrong, they feel awesome, but my fingers, when I hold the steering wheel at a 9-3 position, is how you're meant to be driving, are in constant contact with the paddle shifters. I really wish they pushed the paddle shifters further back because it's just, it digs into your fingers and it gets annoying. Another thing I want to highlight is the looks. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a stunning car in terms of its exterior, interior, the overall aesthetics, materials, everything. I think it's just almost flawless. But I feel it's kind of a lazy design approach when they take the front of the Big Daddy Range Rover and the back of the Evoque. I've been in traffic behind Velars before, and I could have sworn I was looking at an Evoque. It just feels there's a bit of a mismatch between the tiny back and the really big front that has all this presence. The naming convention is another thing that kind of annoys me. Obviously, Land Rover are okay with creating different families. So you've got the Discovery, you've got the Defender, you've got the Range Rover. I'm okay with the big Range Rover having Range Rover Sport and HSEs and all of those other trims. But Evoque and the Velar, why are those Range Rovers? I don't get it. But silliness aside, this is a car that is very hard to fault other than what I just pointed out over here in the paddle shifters. It's a beautiful car. If you have the means and are looking for a perfect all-rounder that can do the off-road thing, can do the daily thing, has all of this practicality, oozes more tech than anyone would ever need. Let's be real. I'm a tech guy and I'm on the limit of being overwhelmed of how much technology is in this car, but I love it. So I know I'm at fault, not the car, but some other audiences might be a bit overwhelmed with this. But if you can live with the next level tech in here, it's a beautiful car to drive. It's super comfortable, does feel as high quality as they promise. And I get why this car is very popular amongst, you know, the upscale market, people that are doing well for themselves and opt for this brand. I get it that there's a reward factor in driving this. It feels like, you know what, I'm doing good in my life and I deserve to treat myself well, and I'm going to get a classy, high quality SUV, and this is it. I can't recommend it enough, and I really would advise you to go to your Land Rover dealer. Just take it for a test drive, get a feel of everything that I just said, and for yourself, get your own opinion, and take your checkbook with you. You're welcome. Trust me on this. So that's it. I'm going to drive the car home now, turn on the massage seats. Coco, where you at? Coco, you really got to pull up your socks. Velar over here is... So yeah, I'm going to cruise home. Thank you for watching as always, and until the next video, take care.